Hi. In today's session, we're going to look at intermediate nodes data preview in SAP HANA XSA or SAP HANA cloud systems, especially the challenges in using this feature in HANA cloud or XSA on-premise. And we're also going to look at the solution or the workarounds to achieve the data preview on the intermediate nodes in this session. Little background to this as in comparison with HANA Studio based developments. In XS Classic using HANA Studio as the IDE, the data preview has been extremely useful feature, and also it's very simple and straightforward process. Many times it helps in troubleshooting the data issues at a specific join or aggregation or rank nodes in the CV design. And the data preview is being available in quality and production as well in XS Classic using HANA Studio, because the repository exists in 3 systems. So the development artifacts or the design time artifacts like CVs are created in dev and then get exported or imported into the target systems. And this repository object is also accessible to the developers in quality and production systems as the readable objects, so that you can go and simulate the data through your calculation view, join aggregation nodes, and check the data at various node levels. In this way, data preview feature has been extremely useful in XS Classic, and even now we see the importance of this feature a lot. When we're talking about this feature in XS Advanced or HANA Cloud, there are some challenges in getting this done in a direct way. Reasons: in XS Advanced or HANA Cloud, the development environment is either Web IDE full stack or Web IDE for HANA, which is an on-premise scenario, or Business Application Studio if it is a HANA cloud system that is available on BTP. And most of the times these Web IDE tool or the Business Application Studio are connected or installed on a dev instance of HANA Cloud, or the space of Cloud Foundry that is pointing to the dev instance of your HANA system. Once we finish the object development in dev space or dev instance, these objects are built and also generate an archive file for the project, and that file will be taken and gets deployed into the target systems like quality and production. And the repository of quality and production is not going to be seen directly in Web IDE or BIS for us. That is permanent repository. The source control is going to be in Git. So most of the time, or all the time, of all the design time artifacts like calculation views are being worked by developers in dev system. And the data preview can also be possible in that instance where the Web IDE is pointing to. So having said that, if we wanted to understand the data availability or the data results at the different nodes of a calculation view with quality or production data, it brings some difficulties to the table. So that is about the background of this feature in XS Classic using HANA Studio, and having challenges in using it in the XS Advanced or Business Application Studios for HANA Cloud. Now we're going to look at the solutions or the workarounds that are given by SAP in achieving the data preview feature in these systems. So I'm going to show you option 1. I'm going to go through this block. I'm not really performing all these steps in the system at this time. I'll quickly go through this blog taken from the reference of this SAP node 2853770. Going to attach these links for the blogs in this the description of the video, so you can access later. Yeah, so in this blog, the content is more about generating debugging options for the calculation view in runtime. So the runtime is going to be DB Explorer, and then you create intermediate views or temporary tables for each node, or the node that you wanted to do a data preview and a calculation view, and then run that node data display to see the data availability or the result at that level. You can also pass the parameters to these intermediate tables or the views to see the data result. The process contains several steps, but most of them are one-time activity. Once the debugging user got set up and these required store procedures and the access is being granted to the debugging user, every time we wanted to perform the data preview in runtime, that's going to be simple some SQLs to run and create the intermediate objects, and then another SQL to do the data preview on those intermediate nodes. At the end, you can clean those temporary objects so that it makes so clean. Let's quickly go through these steps on how this is being done. So there is a package you may download. You can find this package link in this URL, and then adjust the grants file that is part of this package. This grants file is going to give you access on certain procedures that are part of this shipment package. And you're also going to need a fighter or debugging user that is going to be used to create the intermediate objects. You don't have to do it, but for tracking purpose or having the access isolation, it's better to use a debugging user for this purpose. You can also have a container admin user to make any HDI admin controlling activities, but this is also a one-time activity. The debugging user setup and also the global container administrator user activities are one-time activities. Once everything is set up, and then now we grant the current container schema where we wanted to perform the data preview on the intermediate nodes, and then extension with execute procedures to the debugging user. So that gives access to this is not a once-time activity. I mean, every time you have a new container, you may have to perform this step. But once it is done to a container, that is sufficient for further access. And then now we log in with that debugging user and then run the procedure, which is going to be your container schema dot the debug view. That is, a debug view is a standard procedure, and then the parameters that are being passed are your CV and then the node that you are going to do the data preview, and give a custom name there. And then that's it. You just do a select on the schema, the same container schema, and the temporary object that is created here, and that is going to give you the data preview. And you can also pass the parameters. There is a syntax you get for passing the parameters. I mean, when you do the data preview on a CV, you get parameters pass syntax, so you can grab that and use it for calling this procedure as well. And then that's it. Once you finish your debugging or the troubleshooting, you can clean up those objects by running the call drop debug view procedure by giving the temporary object as a parameter to be sent. And that's it. And then this cleanup activity you can plan on a scheduled basis. Okay, this is the a workaround to perform the data preview for XSA based object development in DB Explorer. Alternatively, if you're using Business Application Studio for HANA Cloud, with the recent release, there is an option to separate your data preview access with the object modification access. So this is a big challenge. The reason we couldn't do or we couldn't target or point CVs to the quality of production system is because the developer or the person who is accessing the data preview can also make a change to the CV and perform the build or deployment there. That could cause objects directly being changed in quality and production. When there was no separation of the access for CVs, only do the data preview, but not the objects changeability restriction. So with that restriction, we or any developer was not allowed to access the HANA CV data preview or HANA CV in quality of production system because there is a risk in getting it modified. So what SAP did in the recent release of HANA Cloud with the Business Application Studio, the access has been separated, just like the way currently we have it in HANA Studio. You would be able to see the data preview of a calculation view by targeting to your quality or production system. But the database user who has got the access of data preview wouldn't be able to make any changes to the container in the form of build or deployment. In BIS, it is always called deployment, so there's no build. So the deployment cannot happen with the database user that has full access to the data preview. So you can do that as an alternative approach in only if you're using HANA Cloud with Business Application Studio, not on-premise though. So this is the option you have in the data preview. Data preview, I can show you that on the Business Application Studio. So if you are trying to get the data preview, you can click on the other database user and then it's going to show you the other database users in the system. The rest I haven't created the database users yet in this new system, but you can choose this user that you wanted to grant access to, that you wanted to run the data preview. Okay, so that's another alternative solution using BAS on HANA Cloud. Summarizing the topic, intermediate nodes data preview has been a challenge or a difficult process in HANA Cloud or XSA on-premise. So we have seen a couple of workarounds or alternate solutions to achieve the data preview option using a debugging user concept or separating the access from debugging user to the deployment user. That's all for this topic, and thanks for listening. I'll see you in another topic. Bye for now.